everybody, welcome to Sherwood Forest. Going to have a bit of a wander around. It's not a perfect day for it, but it's cold, it's been quite bright, so we'll see what sort of things are around. Deep into winter, so hopefully we'll get something interesting. So today, mainly because it's actually about the best weather we had for a while, there's quite a few people around. So what we've done, we've come completely off the beaten track to one of the old sort of tracks that are around the outside. But it does mean we've got some great silver birch. The sun is fairly low in the sky, but it's a little bit hazy, but it's working well for some nice silhouettes. Because obviously we're deep in winter now. We've got what's essentially just a load of sort of branches without leaves on it. There's a couple of little bits and bobs that I might pick out, but the big thing is a lot of silhouetting, and hopefully we'll get some interesting compositions. Now I'm hoping today to get maybe sort of a couple of sort of proper sort of wintry sort of scenes. We've not got any snow or ice or anything, so we're not going to get any of that, but I think with the trees that we've got, might be able to get something interesting, and hopefully if we're really lucky, we'll be able to get a couple of sort of nice images out of it. Now, using the 12-100 on the OM1 as per normal, fix the ISO at 200, and running the aperture priority f4 to f8, depending on what I'm doing with it. Sort of getting that sort of thing with it, and trying a few different sort of techniques with the camera as well today. So you might notice them a little bit different because I'm actually sort of started using a different video camera, so hopefully that'll come out okay. But we're doing essentially sort of the walk out, so we'll take you along for a few bits and bobs, get a few images on there, and if you can stick to the end, because there will be a bit of a gallery of some of the other shots as well that sort of don't fit in with the rest of it. But get sort of a bit deeper in, get some shots out and see what sort of things we can come up with. Now, another thing I have got with me, just in case, because there's quite a bit of bird life around here, is the 300 in my backpack. So I might sort of flip that on, get some shots of birds as well, if I can get that working. Like I said, the light conditions, they're a bit funny, but it's what you get for winter time. You're never going to get these sort of fantastic sort of bright scenes or sort of big shadows. You know, you've got a lovely sort of bit of diffuse sky. I mean, if I just spin you around, you can see up there, there's not really a lot going on. As far as that is, not a lot of definition, so it's basically the whole thing's working as a great big softbox, but fairly bright one, which is quite nice. It's quite nice to actually sort of get that effect, but certainly along this area, there's some great trees, some really sort of old stuff. I mean, look at that beast there. Some really nice ones around. So hopefully we'll be able to get some interesting shots. A lot of silver birch here, but it's a little bit messy. Might try and isolate a couple of bits around it, but I think it is getting a little bit too messy to actually make it work, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah. We'll keep on hunting, wandering, and see what we can find. And there are some absolute crackers like this one behind me. And if I can get the gimbal to just do its thing, you can see it's actually holding itself up just on one branch up at the top. The tree is completely split in two. Absolutely incredible thing. But that's where sort of yeah, being a little bit creative, you can sort of get something interesting out of it. Rather than sort of trying to incorporate the entire tree, I'm going to go with sort of just going a little bit tighter, and so we can just get a portion of it, because there's some of the patterns on the bark as well, or the lack of bark in some places on it, are actually quite interesting. So yeah, I'll rattle off a couple of shots and see what I can find. Now normally we were sort of down here for the autumn and sort of the fungi and stuff like that, but what we'd end up doing sort of last autumn was head up to the Lake District, sort of wandering around there instead. So we missed some of the peak of it, but certainly this sort of area would have been really quite nice, I think, if we'd been down here. Like I say, it's managed woodland, but it's not over managed. But like I say, at the moment, with how the winter storms have been, we've got quite a few bits of tree fall as well going on. But yeah, it's a bit of an awkward one to try and pick stuff out, which is why I'm going for the silhouettes. Massive amount of black and white going on, but when we get sort of further down towards sort of the Budby end, things sort of should open up a little bit. I'll be able to get something interesting. Now the sky, although it looks flat, there is a little bit of pattern into it, which I might be able to pull back in post. But we'll see what happens on that front. But yeah, there's a few little bits as I'm just like scanning around. Yeah, a few potential compositions. Mainly taking in sort of the older trees and trying to sort of separate those out. But yeah, a lot of sort of tight in work, I think, as well. But some nice patterns just starting to show us that we're sort of getting further into the forest. So yeah, maybe a few more shots, I think. We've reached a section now which is sort of basically known as the Wildwood Trail, and you can probably see why. It opens out a bit, got some great trees, some real sort of big characters in there. I'm trying to sort of separate some bits out, try and pick, like I said, a few sort of foreground trees, background trees, just composed in, like I said, there's very little separation, but the beauty of this, you've got some darker trees with the silver birch behind, which almost give you that separation. Stopping back a little bit can help as well, so you get the background a little bit blurred, and it stops it from being quite so sort of in your face. Everything sort of pin sharp front to back. But yeah, a few nice ones, getting a few shots out. Probably going to sort of disappear off piste on this bit as well, try and get some sort of different angles as we go through. But yeah, this is quite a nice section. So like I said, a lot of what I'm doing today is looking for patterns, shapes, doing a lot of silhouette work. I think there's going to be a lot of black and white. Just really emphasising the mood and sort of trying to bring that sort of detail out. Like I say, it's a fairly busy day as well, so I'm sort of doing little snippets here and there. But I think, like I say, I might get a couple of interesting bits. I mean, I've got another one that I'm stood next to now, not far away from the other one. And it's just sort of full of character. I mean, you can see it's an ancient tree, and it's very, very weather worn. It's got that real sort of gnarly effect to it, which is quite nice. So I'm going to rattle off another sort of shot here and we'll start heading back down, because a little bit of an avenue they might try and get a shot of as well further down there. So yeah, let's have a bit of a look and hopefully be able to get something out of it at least. Another thing going on today, I wanted this new hat which I bought, which is ideal for a cold, bright day, because you've got these lovely warm ear flaps which keep your ears nice and warm all down the back of your neck as well, but you've got a nice size peak as well, just to keep the sun out of your eyes. So when you've got a bright day that's particularly cold, it works better than a baseball cap and better than sort of just normal woolly hat. Got it from Amazon, wasn't exactly expensive, bought it out of my own money, but I'll pop a link to it down below, so if you want one, go and put one up, because yeah, I'm quite impressed with it. It does work quite well. Also, I'm using the 12-100 at the moment, and it's giving quite a nice sort of compression feel, because you've got that bit of a telephoto to it, so you're not getting close up to the subjects but you're further away, but compress it down adds to that sort of sense of separation as you sort of zoom in, because it compresses the scene. There's a couple of little bits and bobs that were spotted, and a couple that are actually just over that sort of way. Love to be able to get hold of the shot, but there's too much in the way, it doesn't really work. But yeah, definitely telephoto, great idea when you're sort of doing these sort of shots. So you're using the compression of the scene to sort of give the separation out there. Drop it back to f4 as well, so you've got a nice bit of depth of field going on, but it's not too much, so it doesn't look overly unnatural. And yeah, I think it's actually working quite well. But still some absolute beauts around. Not a lot you can do with them, but some absolute beauts. Yeah, really enjoying the woodland today. But I mean, if I can point sort of over that sort of way, we're getting these nice sort of dark trees in the foreground, and you can just make out that sort of the silver birch in the background. It almost adds like a mist to it. I mean, that isn't quite as good. Certainly sort of back there it was a lot better, and even sort of delving deeper in, you're sort of picking out the silver birch itself and sort of giving patterns as well. But yeah, it's a cracking little bit of woodland though. Really is nice. And well, I think I might have just spotted another composition, so let's rattle off another shot. We've not actually seen a lot of bird life at all. A couple of little bits when we first came in, but it seems fairly quiet for it. But there's a load of little tiny flies around. I've got a new jacket that I bought on, which is a bit brighter than the old one, and I seem to love it. I'm basically covered in flies. Not ideal, but you know, being one with nature and all the rest of it. But yeah, we've got a few nice little spots around though. I think we're going to sort of head a bit further out, then sort of come back in again. But yeah, get some more shots from around this area, I think, because a few more silver birch that are a little bit more sort of pronounced in this area. And as you know, I do love a silver birch. But yeah, it's definitely it's been quite nice. It's the first time we've been down this section of the woods at Sherwood, so I think it's one to earmark for future. Definitely we'll get some autumn colours down here. Would be fantastic. And there's a fair old chance this, when it's icy, would be absolutely brilliant. But yeah, quite enjoying it. Another little compositional trick that I do try and use is try and use the rule of three. So if you've got a group of trees, it seems to work better if you've got a group of three together. So you've got a nice sort of set of 4 trees, symmetrical, looks very pretty, but it's a bit more pleasing to me to the eye to actually have a set of 3 trees. It's just something that I prefer to sort of have in a shot. Now if I just spin you around here, other than the fact we've got a little bit of mess in the way, you've got a group of 3, so 1, 2 and 3 over there. If you could lose that background, that's be quite a nice little grouping. You've got a group of 4 there, which doesn't really work. You've got 1 strong, 3 not. Got a nice big old one there, and if I can get this gimbal to catch up, got one to the side there, one to the side there, you could sort of frame that in. It just seems to work a little bit better. It might just be personal preference, but that's when I'm sort of taking a shot, I tend to try and look for that. But what I'm also looking at is, rather than sort of incorporating the entire tree, going for a section of it, especially with the detail that we've got, and especially if I can get this to line up, that little bit of a sort of lighter tree there, just the top part of that is actually quite interesting, whereas the rest of it really isn't. It's just finding little bits like that. I mean, there's a lot of the trees around here, they almost intertwine together. So sort of they almost work like a natural frame. So if you can sort of shoot something like that, you don't have to have the entire tree in frame, but a section of it to actually give you an idea. Your imagination fills in the rest of the gaps, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's something today it's working quite well, because there's so many beautiful shapes and beautiful interacting trees that I think it's just working really quite nicely. And just to illustrate this a little bit better, I mean, if I just stand there, this sort of group there, you've got a nice group of 3 trees, but actually you've got 4. If I move to the side, you can see another one pop in, but I can move around there, and then we've got basically back to 3 trees again. Okay, if you sort of pan across, there's areas that you can sort of pick out, so sort of reframing this section, so you're losing this section of the frame. You've got 3 strong trees there that all work together. So if you can sort of manoeuvre yourself around, but don't be afraid to actually move around in the scene. So you can see as I'm moving around, the entire scene is changing, and you can actually frame up something completely different now. You've got 2 very strong trees there. You've got a lovely sort of bit of leaf in the background there you can use. So yeah, it's a little bit of a shame about sort of this very edge one here, but if you can move around a bit more, you can sort of lose that in a crop and actually get half decent scene out of it. And as you can see from there, with the silver birch, it just gives you that little bit of extra separation that's like working with mist. I mean, 99% of the time when you're out in the woods, you're not going to get misty conditions. So learning to work with it is actually quite a handy little skill. And something I'm always doing as well when we're walking around the woodland, looking behind me. So I'll stop every now and again, turn around, have a look, see if there's anything sort of changed, because the composition as you're walking from one direction is going to be completely different to when you're walking back the other way. So it does pay to actually sort of just stop every now and again. If you see something that might be quite interesting, a bit of a spin round, see if you can sort of see anything out there. Certainly sort of getting into more of a thicker area of silver birch now, but yeah, there's always going to be compositions around. It might take a little bit more work, but yeah, I think there's a few sort of potentials down here anyway. So, hopefully you've enjoyed that little wander around Sherwood Forest with us. Now we're getting more into sort of the busier areas now, so I'm going to call it for the video, but we'll pop some more shots up now at the end. But if you've enjoyed it, please do give us a big thumbs up, subscribe, comment below if there's any sort of information that you want to know about sort of the camera setups and stuff like that. Yeah, drop us a comment down, love to hear from you. But for now, from quite a nice Sherwood Forest, thanks for watching, we'll see you again next time. Take care.